is the place of freedom. Lord God, in the face of religion, Father, I pray that religion won't be able to stand. The walls will come down and the church will rise and praise you and worship you and love you. Oh God, I pray those walls will come falling down.
Because if we're going to see God move in Houston, we have to be faithful to what God has entrusted to us and not be competitive with what God has entrusted to someone else. To be content with where God has put us in the body and not try to be something that we're not. We need to be content at the plane of responsibility that God has given us. All of our Christian formula is not going to bring power to the city. But our relationship with the living God and asking Him and Him alone to intervene on behalf of the souls of the city is the only answer that's going to be able to change this city. Or one of the 250 elders in verse 2 says, and they rose up before Moses with some of the children of Israel, 250 leaders of the congregation. These weren't just lay people, these were the leaders, elders of the congregation, representatives of the congregation, men of renown. That means men of reputation. They had stature, they had reputation. They gathered together against Moses and Aaron and said to them, you take too much upon yourselves, for all the congregation is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you exalt yourself above the congregation of the Lord? What Korah was saying, he started an insurrection, so to speak. He called these people, and they were murmuring and backbiting. They come to Moses, who God had placed in that position. The pastor, so to speak, the senior man. And they come against him and say, you take too much upon yourself. Who do you think you are? We're all holy. We can all hear from God. We don't need you. We all hear from God equally, and that is true. All of us as Christians can hear from God, can't we? That's the kind of dichotomy of Christianity, is that Jesus loves us all equally. He's a respecter of no one, but yet you have to understand that yes, He speaks to all of us. He ministers to all of us. He desires to hear from all of us. But when we exalt ourselves or promote ourselves into something we are not, then we are not humbling ourselves, but we are exalting ourselves. And those who exalt themselves shall be humbled, but those who humble themselves shall be exalted. And so we then must be faithful with what God has entrusted us to help build His kingdom and not our own. It's not about being somebody, it's about knowing someone. His name is Jesus. And then it says, here goes on, I'll paraphrase for you. It says in verse 8, and Moses said to Korah, hear now, you sons of Levi, is it a small thing to you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to Himself, to do the work of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to serve them? Moses said, isn't it already a big deal that God honored you, made you a person of renown, that He would allow you to serve the people at the tabernacle? Isn't that a great responsibility? Isn't that something you should take great honor and joy with? Say, oh Lord, thank you for the privilege. Like King David, I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the Lord. I mean, Moses is saying, aren't you just honored by the fact that God chose you to do this, and now you want to be something more than you are? And he says to Korah, he says, I'll tell you what, let's find out who God is going to judge righteously. You see, Moses, when it was said that he was the most humble man in the land, it's kind of interesting because he's the one that wrote that. He said, the most humble man in the land is Moses. But I understand what he's meaning. Recognizing his inability, recognizing his inadequacy, recognizing his impediment of not being able to communicate properly, he was saying, I am a most humbled man. I can't do this. God, I'm too old for this. You have to understand, God, I'm not the man. Find someone else. Or because he wasn't looking for position, God said, you're the man. You're the man. No matter how much you scream and holler, bless God, hallelujah, get back, devil. No matter how much you scream and holler and sing loud songs and jump and shout, remember this. It's what you do behind closed doors when no one can see you that determines the power of God or lack of it in public. You can scream and holler and say, I'm a Christian, get back, devil, in the name of Jesus. And guess what's going to happen? Like the 7 sons of Sceva. It's an issue of relationship versus formula. All of our Christian formula is not going to bring power to the city. But our relationship with the living God and asking Him and Him alone to intervene on behalf of the souls of the city is the only answer that's going to be able to change this city. Now it's interesting, Jethro said the same thing. Jethro said to Moses, you take too much upon yourself. But they both came from a different spirit. Jethro said with genuine concern, Moses, you take too much upon yourself. How can I help hold your arms up? How can we serve you to better serve the people? I don't want to be exalted. Let me help hold your arms up. But Korah said the same thing, but a different spirit. He was saying, I want to be somebody. I want to be somebody. You take too much upon yourself, Moses. And we must watch our hearts whenever we want to be something in the church, or we want to give counsel to the pastor, or we want to make our point known at a meeting, or everybody wants to have a word. When we have to ask ourselves the question, what's my motivation? Is it important for me to be recognized? Or is it important because I really care about the sheep? I care about the sheep. I so desire for God to bring changed lives in Houston. I don't care if I'm ever known. I just desire to decrease, that He can increase, that souls will come flooding into the churches around Houston. I desire to serve my pastor. I desire to hold his arms up. I desire, even when I disagree, to humble myself and honor him. Yes. But here's the heart of a true pastor, of a true under shepherd of the Lord. After judgment falls, what does Moses and Aaron do? They could go like many of us say, nah, you deserve exactly what you get. See what happens when you touch God's anointed, bless God, you're going to be judged. That's a wrong spirit. That's not a good spirit. That's arrogant, boastful, and proud, which is demonic and sensual and every evil thing. But here's what Moses and Aaron did. It says in verse 41, on the next day all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron, saying, you have killed the people of the Lord. Now it happened when the congregation had gathered against Moses and Aaron that they turned toward the tabernacle of meeting, and suddenly the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. And then Moses and Aaron came before the tabernacle of meeting. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, get away from among this congregation, that I might consume them in a moment. And they fell on their knees. So Moses said to Aaron, Moses and Aaron fell on their knees. So Moses said to Aaron, take a censer and put fire in it from the altar. Put incense on it and take it quickly to the congregation to make atonement for them. In other words, offer up prayer, holy prayer. For wrath has gone out from the Lord. The plague has begun. What's the plague? The plague of sin. And Aaron took it as Moses commanded and ran in the midst of the congregation. And already the plague had begun among the people. So he put in the incense and made atonement for the people. And he stood between the dead and the living. So the plague was stopped. Now, here's what Moses and Aaron's heart were to do. The plague of sin had begun. People's lives were destroyed because sin produces death. They so loved the people. Their murmuring, their sin, their compromise had consumed them, and God's fire had come, not to anoint them for revival, but to judge them in their sin. And Moses and Aaron, instead of saying, this is what you deserve, they grabbed their incense of prayer, and they ran between the people. They stood between the living and the dead. The Word tells us who will stand in the gap. When we come before the Lord to be blessed, then are we willing to be commissioned to say, I will stand in the gap. I will stand between the living and the dead. Literally, folks, there are the balance of eternity tonight for multitudes of souls in this city. Balance right now. We are a part of the living, but there are those who are on the edge of death. Are we willing to stand in the gap, to stand between the living and the dead, and cry out for God's mercy upon this city? God, forgive me for my sins. Forgive me for anything I've done to get in the way of what you want to do. And now, Lord, I make myself available. God, I cry for these souls. God, I stand between the porch and the altar weeping for souls. God, I pray, not my will, but your will be done. Have your will upon this city. But Lord, I cry mercy for them. I cry mercy for the mayor. I cry mercy for the police department. I cry mercy for those in leadership. I cry mercy for our pastors and our leaders that are not preaching the word of truth. I cry mercy, Lord. I cry mercy for the gang member. I cry mercy for the homosexual. I cry mercy for the lesbian.